How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and welcome back to our playthrough of the military campaign for Stronghold 2. Today we'll be completing chapter number 12, to capture a king.
The king is out of time, out of allies, and at our mercy. Once the castle falls, both of you are to fall back. I will launch the final assault.
It boils down to this. The church will recognize whoever presents the crown. Let us ensure it is I.
My destiny is at hand. The only acceptable outcome from today's fight is my coronation.
Okay, so here we are, and this is the small army that we start with. The objective of this mission is to reach the king and kill him before either Pascal or Barclay can instead. This mission is particularly tricky, and I would say ultimately it's probably my least favorite mission in the entire game due to its volatility. By that, what I mean is, it doesn't matter usually if you play it right. Sometimes there are just factors that are beyond your control that involve the other two characters sieging the king's castle that you simply they'll vary from time to time. Let's discuss some of the tactics used here. So I moved the swordsmen in first, so that way they would draw the bulk of the fire. I positioned the catapults significantly away from the tower with the crossbows in them, and then I told them to target that wall area right there. By targeting that area of the wall, not only have they removed it to the point where I could now walk through there with my swordsmen and everything, but they also removed the rolling logs on there and prevented them from tripping. While the archers and those towers were distracted by my swordsmen and catapults, I also sent my faster troops past. So in other words, you saw the archers and the macemen, probably a couple of knights go past as well, and I hid them up here in this little corner of the map to make sure they didn't get fired upon. After I had successfully removed that area of the wall and broken a path in, I sent the swordsmen to go and assault the tower that is currently firing on everything. The catapults really don't matter too much to me at this point because I never successfully found a way to use them against friendly troops, basically, at least in any sort of reliable sense. And the same goes with the those burning carts. I never really found a way to use them very effectively. But this is when Lord Barclay starts launching his siege. And like I said before, you have two other AI contenders fighting as well, launching the siege. And what happens to them is different from time to time. Like a lot of the times his archers and the crossbowmen will get burnt up there by the pitch ditches. Other times they won't. That's just one example of the many variables involved here. So there's really no way to predict the outcome exactly. And even if you have everything, even if you do your best, if you do everything to get into the right position, there are small things that you just will never be able to control that make this mission very frustrating to play, because it relies a lot on what I would consider to be RNG for a strategy game, and I dislike that in strategy games. I dislike that in turn-based strategy games as well, as you've probably heard me complain about Civilization 4's combat system because of the exact same problem. So here we go. I've successfully cleared out the top of that tower, so now it's time to send in my knights and my macemen. Now the knights and the macemen are, of course, the fastest units you have access to, and you want to protect them as much as possible. So I try to hide them in certain areas. I try to make sure that they move along areas that I know do not have traps in them. But as you'll probably see in the future, this is ultimately very hard to predict. Now, you're not fighting Barclay's troops or Pascal's troops. None of them are hostile towards you. So you can feel free to linger around here and just wait for Pascal or Barclay to take out the majority of the enemy troops. Draw their fire and whatnot without you having to worry about taking casualties yourself. Just wait until the path is clear. Gatehouse is either captured or down.
Both of you pull back. The crown is mine. Do not be a fool, Barclay. It is not your destiny to rule this country.
You will never take the crown.
But as you can see here, you are heavily outgunned by Barclay and Pascal. The troops that they have at their disposal greatly outweigh the two knights that you have. But, if you use them intelligently, you don't get them killed. As you'll see, I get one of them killed. you can be pretty effective with it. So we've already cleared everything out here. Well, I shouldn't say we, because obviously it's been Barkley and Pascal for the most part. But everything's been cleared out, so I just moved the archers ahead. And really, I wouldn't say this matters a lot. Like, if you need to focus on just managing the macemen and the knights as precisely as possible, I'd go for that instead. But if you can move up the archers, like, there's no harm in doing so. If you can move up your swordsmen, once again, no harm in doing so. I think my swordsmen got left behind. No, they were coming along too. They really don't matter. To me, it's all about the macemen and the knights. And now you can see the gatehouse is down, but there's a lot of pitch and killing pits in there. There are a lot of ballistas in there. You don't want to be first into that area. Just try to stay back here. Try to mingle with the crowd a little bit. And just try to stay as inconspicuous as possible. Hopefully, and once again, this is what I'm talking about with RNG. Hopefully the king's ballistas don't target you. Hopefully the crossbowmen in the tower don't target you. It's just hope. There's a lot of finger crossing here. And also hope that you don't run into a trap. But I mean, right there, I ran into a killing pit or a man trap. I forget exactly what they're called. It killed the knight instantly, straight out. So like, what are you gonna do? But I managed to get this one knight through here. Then you have to go through the painful, tedious process of dismounting the horse, because it doesn't happen automatically. Even though I was first to the keep, time is wasted dismounting the horse and everything. And then here are my macemen coming along as well. I've selected them. I only have 6 left. They're running through a little bit of fire. They're taking a little bit extra damage that I like, but they're faster than the knights. They'll get to the king before him, but it depends. Will the ballistas target those macemen? Will the crossbowmen in the tower start targeting those macemen? You can't really tell a lot of the time. So I managed to get away with 1 knight and 1 maceman, or like 6 macemen in this situation. The ideal composition is 2 knights and about 5 macemen. I've done it with just 2 knights, and yeah, you really need at least this composition here, I think. Like either 2 knights or 5 macemen and 1 knight seems to be required. But you'll notice even here, the troops, the knights from the Hawk are already attacking the king as well, right? They're in there with my knights, or my 1 knight. I would have 2 if it hadn't stupidly walked into a trap that I didn't see. And it's just luck of the draw. You don't know if you're going to be the one who hits the lucky or lands the lucky blow that kills the king. And this means that you might ultimately have to replay this mission again and again and again. So as you can see in this one, I have successfully beaten it, and we get to see the end cinematic here, where the Hawk and Barkley are both sort of bowing down and recognizing Matthew as king. Of course, Matthew looks a bit different than he usually does, but never you mind. But that does complete Chapter 12 of the military campaign for Stronghold 2. After this, we'll be moving on to the economic campaign. So despite my frustrations, I have successfully completed it. Just a little bit of background here, a little bit of backstory to it. This mission was one of the missions that I never completed up until very recently, because I just disliked it so intensely. Like in the past, I had played it for like a couple of hours and had lost continuously. And it wasn't necessarily due to a bad strategy, as I pointed out before. It was just me getting unlucky in terms of who landed the killing blow to the king. Even when I played it for this video here, I played a whole bunch of rematches of that exact same chapter multiple times, and I would say of a total of about 2-hour recording session. So that mission itself, you probably noticed, was about 10 minutes. But out of those 10 minutes, that comes to roughly 12 matches, would you say? Only one of them did I ever actually win. And I remember I played it from start to finish. I think you can pretty clearly see why this mission is frustrating to me, and why it's my least favorite mission of Stronghold 2. It's not necessarily because it was difficult. I appreciate a challenge that requires a delicate strategy. Take a look at Stronghold HD, the military campaign for that, where you had to siege the pig's castle, right? It was a very delicate mission, but it didn't rely on luck. If you knew the right strategy, you could be assured that if you played your cards right, that you would win. There was no question that you would win. This is a very obnoxious mission, and it is my least favorite in Stronghold 2 for that very reason. Yeah, Mission 12 is bad. nothing else I can really say. But thank you very much for watching as always, and I hope to see you next time.